Hello, my beautiful Gemini friends. As many of you know, I consider Gemini to be one of my best friends in the world. Like the energy of Gemini, I have so many Gemini friends. You all just bring out such a playful, curious, fun, loving side of me. So I appreciate your energy so much. So every time I come to sit down and do a chat with you, I do feel like I'm hanging out with a group of really fun, loving, curious best friends, and we get to explore this life together. So as somebody who doesn't really have Gemini in her chart very much, it's always fun to explore with you and get to see things from your perspective. So let's talk about this April, because it is a very, very powerful one. And it's one that is going to involve a lot of healing for a lot of us, a lot of shaking off physically of trauma, as well as incorporating healing, reunifying parts of ourselves, and actually discovering new aspects of ourselves. And for you, Gems, this April really is kind of a time for you to reconnect with yourself in new ways. This is going to be, we're going through Aries season first, of course, which is going to be great for friendships, community, playfulness, connecting with others, doing kind of group things, letting your social side come out. So of course, we're going to be moving through Aries season, Sun and Mercury will be there. But as we get into Taurus season this month, the sun moves into there. We are also getting into your 12th house energy, the sign right before you. And this is a time of rebirth, release, shedding any old costumery that we may have been using for the last couple of years, and welcoming in some new energies. So it's a really important time this Taurus season for you to incorporate, release, and kind of get into your next phase of life. This Taurus season is also going to be an eclipse season, because now the North Node is no longer in your sign. It is in Taurus, and the eclipses are now happening in your neighboring sign, in your 12th spiritual house. And we're having our first eclipse of this season on the 30th of April. It's a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. So this is amplifying that sense that it is time to kind of shake off any old costumes, any old identities or things that you were carrying around with you. And even during the last 2 years, while most of the time you had that North Node in your sign, we're approaching a Gemini season without the North Node there. And because of that, the modality for how you're creating and moving through the world is going to feel a little bit different this year. And I think in a really nice way. Sometimes I feel like when you have the North Node in your sign, it's a really exciting time. It can be very energizing, amplifying, playful, great. It's like this big spotlight, but it can also really challenge you and ask you to grow a lot and gain a lot of wisdom. And that can be a little exhausting at times. So what's really great about this upcoming Gemini season, when we get there next month, is that this is a beautiful time to kind of explore, like use the wisdom and everything that you've learned, and then also kind of let go of any of the weight that maybe you were feeling you were carrying. Hierophant, very interesting. It's a Taurus card. Taurus is connected to the Hierophant energy. But this is what April's going to be about for you, and the beginning of May as well. It's going to be a time of kind of reassessing, taking a moment to think about where you're putting your energy, how you're putting your energy out there in the world. Is it feeling like true to who you are right now in this moment? Are you discovering new aspects of yourself? This month is also going to be really supportive of Gemini energy. Mercury, your ruling planet, is going to join you this month. Near the end of the month, actually, around the eclipse. We also have a full moon in Libra, which is going to be lighting up your heart. And we have Mars and Saturn having some conversations in your fellow sign Aquarius, which can really help you reevaluate where you're prioritizing your energy, where you're putting it. The Tower, our fun friend, the Tower. And this is what I will say, because we are we're getting close to eclipse season. We're getting to this place of releasing and shaking out a lot of the tension and stress that developed over the last 2 years. That's one of the important hallmarks of April's energy. 2 cards came out, 9 of Wands, Ace of Pentacles. I love it. It's a really, really important part of the process in April for everyone, that we take some time to integrate, heal, and shake off built up chronic stress that has built up over the last few years. And obviously the world continues to be a very complex, messy place where we are going to continue to connect with challenges and overwhelm and all sorts of different experiences. There's always something going on in the world that can be overwhelming. But we want to check in and sometimes have a bit of an overhaul. And the tower showing up here in our reading has to do with that. But we'll get into that in just a moment. Let me pull a final card for my Animal Totem Tarot just to round out our chat. And we have the Three of Pentacles, the giraffe. So cute. Giraffes are amazing, fascinating beings. So let's get into these cards and feel through some of the messages that are coming in for my gems. And I hope I mentioned too that while this is about taking off any costumes, any heavy cloaks that you may have been wearing as you moved through the last couple of years, with Mercury joining you, with this eclipse happening in your 12th house, igniting creative thinking is going to be a really, really big part of the month. And getting into using some of your Gemini skills and wisdom is going to be huge this month. So let's talk about it. We start with the Hierophant, a very fixed energy. And of course, the Hierophant is often associated with the establishment in a way, with the old traditions of how we learn, how we grow, how we are taught, how we receive spiritual wisdom, all of these things. And of course, the one side to that can be that this can be a little bit stuck energy. But when I see the Hierophant here, what I see too is connecting with how you want to learn, how you want to grow in the world, as well as taking your seat in your own life as a teacher, as somebody who can share your wisdom, as somebody who feels empowered to be connected to spirit and to wisdom and all the wisdom you gained while the North Node was in your sign. The Hierophant is about really owning that space in your own life. And it's not necessarily meant to be that you have to go around telling everybody how to live their lives or anything. It's more of a sense that, you can trust yourself. You can trust the knowings and the impulses and the things that are wanting to come up and out of you at this time. And you have access to that wisdom. You don't need to be looking to a lot of exterior sources to tell you it's okay to desire something or to want to shift something or to want to reprioritize any area of your life. So you are empowered to do that. The Hierophant for me too is about a deep knowing that doesn't go away. It's the call that keeps ringing in the back room of our mind, and it just will not stop until we pick it up. And so when the Hierophant shows up, this is about something that's wanting you to commit to it, right? It's something that's coming from within your own system, but it may also feel not only like it's coming up and out of you and is almost unstoppable, but also like it's coming towards you as well. And that's when you know it's something that needs to you need to give some energy to it and allow it to be expressed and explored. So the Hierophant here is about something that is very important that you hear. And that does come with this Tower energy. And like I said, April is about shaking off the dust, shaking out the accumulated tension in our systems. And for me, the Tower has been showing up in readings this month, not just your sign. And I know we all have different connections with this energy. The Tower has such a notorious reputation in the tarot world because it's so associated with sudden change or things that are out of our control. For me, the Tower is about the freedom of spirit that comes when we are not confined in old containers that we're carrying around with us. So it's a very important energy that it's important that we incorporate it more regularly into like every week, month of our lives. Quite honestly, I think it's the kind of energy that we can really utilize more regularly and more consistently and not let this build up. So you're being asked to listen to an inner knowing and start making movement and start making shifts in life. And there's really no not knowing at this point. There's really no unknowing that's possible for you, gems, in the coming month. I feel like as we get closer to your season and as we get to this point in the year, there's something that you just know is coming to culmination, is coming to a shift point. And I think that's really beautiful. And of course, often when we are feeling like, all right, I got to follow this call, I got to like share my art, or I've got to, sign up for that class, or start looking for that new job, or start really considering the space I want to live in, or the shift I want to make, it can feel a little scary. It can bring up this Nine of Wands friend. And the Nine of Wands is an important part of our journey. This is a part of ourselves we have to take really good care of. This is the guardian, the watcher. This is the wounded warrior. This is the part of ourselves. This is a part of our mind and our body that is always looking out for danger, that is always trying to keep us safe. It's basically the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight nervous system, doing its thing. And it's an important part of us that if we just try to pretend it's not happening, won't just disappear. So what we want to do if Nine of Wands is showing up, which it often does, this type of energy often does when we are having a deep knowing and there's that part of us that's very cautious and wants to kind of hold us back and stay in the familiar. Even if you're a mutable air sign, yes, we all have our version of familiar. The Nine of Wands is something that we want to care for and take care of. I think when Nine of Wands shows up too, this is a recognition that you've just been through some stuff. And that's fine. That's okay. But what we want to do is take care of the part of ourselves that's on the lookout for all the worst things that can happen and trying to keep us safe in a hyper-vigilant state. We want to just witness and recognize that part of ourselves and then help to soothe it and take some time every single day to do just that and trust ourselves a little bit more, because you're being asked into these opportunities. The end result here is you start with a deep knowing with the hierophant. You go through a shaking off and a shaking through of the tower. You go through a moment of recognizing that you may be exhausted. You may be in fight or flight. You may be in guardian mode sometimes about these big shifts. And in the end, there's an opportunity that's like, won't stop knocking at your door. The Ace of Pentacles is so magical and mystical. I mean, you can't get much more powerful than this hand coming out from the heavens holding a gift, preferring a gift that wants to be given, wants to be received by you and explored. And yes, it's pentacles, so sometimes this can come in a physical form. It can come in a physical sign. But more than anything, I think Ace of Pentacles is understanding that there's like a gem inside of yourself that wants to be unlocked and shared and explored. And even when I'm saying this, I'm thinking with this Three of Pentacles that shows up right after with the giraffe from my other deck here. It's so interesting. So this card is all about how giraffes have this really long, beautiful neck that's why they can eat, of course, all these higher branches in their environment. And while that is this beautiful, amazing thing that's developed in giraffes, it's also their weakest point. It's also the place where they feel the most vulnerable. It's also where they have to kind of take a risk and go outside of their comfort zone. So this Three of Pentacles card is about going outside of the comfort zone, reaching a little beyond your usual safe spot and putting that sensitive, vulnerable part of yourself out there. But the other part of Three of Pentacles is that there are others that want to join you in that, and there are others that will also support you and take care of you. It may feel like you're just doing it on your own, but you're really not. And it's a reminder that sometimes change and shift can feel really lonely, because in the end, yes, we each individually have to choose. Are we going to put our foot on this path or that path? Nobody can make that choice for us. So that can feel very lonely. It's a journey we each have to go on. However, once we start taking those steps on a path that feels right for us in the journey, in the trip of life, you'll realize there are others that have also taken that step or want to take it with you. And so there's also a lot of comfort here. Mostly what I just see here, Gems, like if we just were going to consolidate this chat into a single kind of wrap up comment, it would be, it is time for you to spread your wings, put your neck out a little bit, try something, make those changes. It might feel scary, but you are supported. You are supported. And I would also say there's some dramatic cards in here. Mostly the Tower is dramatic, but I want to remind you too that the Tower isn't necessarily asking you to burn your life down in order to feel more connected to your truest self. I think the Tower for me is more of an energetic feeling of like, I can see something differently now and I can shake it off. I also think, when I look at these cards, what I see is just taking small steps, taking 5 minutes a day to nudge your trip in the journey that you can feel it pulling you, and just keep doing that and keep exploring that. Let the puzzle pieces come together for you. It is a different energy. We're working with such different energy this year than we have for a couple of years, and we're all getting used to it, and we're all exploring who we are now. In this next kind of phase of the process, which we are in at this point. And with that is going to come a little bit of uncomfortable growth at times, but also a lot of creativity, a lot of curiosity, a lot of excitement, a lot of new connections. And this is a great month for you in so many ways because it is a connective, supportive time. So I hope that you have a gorgeous April. I'm going to be activating that Libra full moon. I'm also going to be doing a big chat about eclipse season and activating those over on Patreon. That's where I really dive in deep on all of these topics. And I didn't really mention, but Pluto is going retrograde at the end of this month for 5 months. We're going to be covering that in depth over on Patreon. So if you're looking for a little more support, a little more community, I'd love to see you over there. It's a great little space. You can also find me on my Instagram. There's only one true Sarah Vrba. There's plenty of dupes out there, but there's just the one. So I'll leave my handle and my website, my email if you want to connect with me. Also, if you are enjoying hanging out with me, which I hope you are, I would love it if you liked or commented or even subscribed and stuck around, because I love having you here and it would mean a lot to me, and it helps me continue to be here and doing this work and continuing to follow this path. So I would love that. And I am so excited to see what this April brings. Please let me know how it's going. I love you, Gemini friends, and talk to you very, very soon.